Velocity Mooney, peace and blessings. Getting into the chart of Roger Jackson, just wanted to see, what could cause an individual to crash out or to lash out at such a degree, right? And looking at his chart off top, it's really not at all hard to see where the crash outery is coming from. Like, if you into astrology at a general level, I'm pretty sure you could identify at least the major part of the crash outery, which is this conjunction right here in Scorpio. The Moon and Mars conjunction in Scorpio, right? Plus, what adds a bit of further intensity to it is the Saturn Jupiter opposite in Critica, right? Now the Saturn, it does restrict the Mars, so it like Saturn restrains the Mars whenever Saturn is opposite the Mars. So it actually for a long amount of time was like holding him together. Not to say that he hasn't crashed out before. I know he fought Rampage or they got into it. Rampage. This nigga damn near a bullet for real, for real. He be talking all type of crazy shit about Roger, all type of wild shit, and it's kind of sad. You feel me? To be honest, the shit that he says about him, uh, pretty much knowing that is to be real, when he jumped in that cage and when he did not that cage, but when he jumped in the ring and when he did what he did to Psycho Stu, he pretty much was fighting Rampage. You feel me? To really be honest, that's all it is, a bunch of pent up anger and aggression, from his father and not being able to release that or take that on his father and whatnot. Right? That's pretty much all it is. But with this Saturn opposite the Mars, you know, it's going to show an individual who, for lack of better expression, you have to watch how you use your anger. You have to be careful in your anger and your actions. If you just try to wild out or not be mindful of your anger or what you're doing, you're going to get consequences. You feel me? You're going to get harsh consequences. You're pretty much going to have a strict upbringing as well and whatnot, right? You're going to have a upbringing to where there's discipline, there's structure. You can't just feel like you big dog or like I'm God or I can do what I want to do. That's not going to happen whenever Saturn is opposite Mars. Whenever Saturn is opposite any planet, especially Mars, when Saturn is opposite Mars, it pretty much has control over that Mars, and the Mars has to develop properly, right? So, you know, he grew up under the tutelage of Rampage Jackson. Uh, you know, pretty much a quiet kid and whatnot. He got into a rampage once. He got his ass whooped terribly, I heard. And Rampage, he talk a lot of shit, dog. He talk a lot of shit, hella disrespectful. You feel me? Be saying the wildest shit, but Roger, since that's his father, and since his father is much stronger than him, he doesn't have much of a choice but to, just Saturn, restrain, push down the emotion, try to ignore, control himself. He can't necessarily just lash out and let the crash out happen like he wants to, right? But that builds up over time. That just constantly builds up and constantly just builds like a toxic residue of dormant anger that is to be released when the proper moment uh or the right triggers call for it, whatnot, right? And sadly, that just happened as of recent. Psycho Stu definitely came across the wrong individual altogether. It's a sad situation, to be very honest. It's really sad. This is the start of this dude's career. He's decent, in the ring and whatnot. He's a decent fighter and whatnot. Yeah, man, he's so young, man. He had a good amount of potential. He was just starting to build like a cooler reputation in the streaming arena. Damn, dog, it's like he has so much to going for. I ain't even gonna lie. I feel remorseful for him, even though I don't know them niggas. I'm never meet them niggas in my life. Just might not, right? But yeah, man, I wish he wouldn't have went off on that dude like that. But that's definitely showcased by this Moon and Mars, right? When you got Moon and Mars together, that's definitely a person who's volatile and very much so protective over their emotion, especially in Scorpio. It's like this dude will damn near kill you if you feel like you playing with him, for real, for real. But Yeah, man. I hope he get the psychological help and the proper rehabilitation that he need. He probably definitely gonna sit some time out in that cell though for sure. I hope not, but you feel me? It's looking damn near inevitable at this point. But before I get off, speaking to this conjunction, right? Doesn't mean that everybody with this Moon, Mars, and Scorpio is gonna be a crash out. It's gonna be just an angry motherfucker. Not necessarily. Like in certain houses, it can show an individual who has a very disciplined internal complex. They're very much so into shadow work, into healing, into dissolving the egotistical aspects of the self. They're into, detoxification. They're into doing the disciplines, the long term, deep, strenuous, in depth disciplines that's needed in order to protect themselves before they wreck themselves, right? This is a powerful combination in itself. It is a spiritual combination in a way as well. Like, this can be a person who's very much self regulated and on point. Being Mars is in Scorpio with the moon, right? And being aspect by Saturn and Jupiter as well, right? So I don't feel like it's over for him. I just feel like this is just a moment of time as to where uh he just had to, he just lashed out, you know what I'm saying? It's a wish it didn't happen, but to be honest, good can probably come out of this situation for real, for real. Maybe if he go in the cell, you know what I'm saying, that'll give him some time to really sit down, think about what he did. Maybe he gets more. Maybe that forces him to like have like a 12th house type of confrontation. Maybe he gets deeper into meditation. Maybe he gets more into, I don't know, some type of yogic practice, some type of confronting the darkness within himself or whatnot. So this is, to be honest, this axis right here, it can make for a person who uh has sort of a masterful signature to that journey in some type of spiritual capacity. He also has K2 in Sagittarius. Venus is exalted as well. Sun is in Purvabhadrapada. So this could be an incident that happened in order to set him down a more spiritual trajectory, right? Uh, or it could just be a crash out, right? You just keep crashing out and in the pen crashing out on other crash outs and all type of shit like that. Hopefully not, but yeah, man. Hopefully the brother able to get his mind and himself together though, for sure, for sure.